Well, hello friends out there in YouTube land. Robert Hamm here with Robert Hamm Photography. Today we're going to talk about using external flash with a really cool camera, TL70. I know you're excited, so let's jump right into this. Guys, you know the way it goes. If you like to see cool stuff like this, all you have to do is hit that like button and subscribe. You have no idea how much it helps me out. And I know this video is going to get a lot of views. So what are you waiting for? It's free. What I'd like to do is share with you a quick video and then jump right into the discussion. It's really nice. So let me go ahead and kind of narrate this for you. As you see the video beginning, right now I'm setting up my gear. The gear that I'm using is an Apollo Westcott, which is a softbox. You see me setting up a backdrop right now. That's also a Westcott X-drop backdrop. I've chosen to use a white background. However, I've got multiple different colors. The reason I want to use white is because I actually want to shoot through the background with a flash. So I want to give a natural vignette in the finished image. And this is because there's no post-processing with instant photos. So I'd like to have that as a true image. So I'm going to, just the technique that I'm going to use. Moving on along, you're going to see I've got a couple of flashes. This is actually a 3-point lighting setup, and it's really neat. It's not too difficult. You just have to have the equipment. Now, you don't need to have 3 points of light like I do. If you're out and about, you can use these same techniques. You can trigger these off-camera flash with the strobe on the TL70 itself. So as long as you've got some dumb flash, dumb strobes, you can put them on slave mode and get everything done just the way that you want. So enjoy this, and we'll check back to the video in just a moment. Alright guys, we are back, and the end result is pretty simply amazing. Beautiful portraits like this with a natural vignette that's not caused by the lens in the photo itself. Great studio type of portraiture. And this is a really great example of how to use the TL70 when you're doing something like a photo booth. This would be a wonderful example of how to get great images with the TL70 at a photo booth. Instead of having the camera meter and have it been in an unreliable lighting environment, specifically indoors, we can get these beautiful bright images that are nice and sharp. And right now I want to kind of walk you through the set real quick, so join me. We're going to pop over to that video now. Hey friends, welcome back. I'm going to share with you exactly how I got those really cool images right now. And I want you to take a look around the room. I'm using the wide angle lens over here just so that you can see. I'm in a 9-foot across by 12-foot down space, which means it's not really that much room. And the important thing to know is I'm using off-camera flash in order to get the lighting situation that I want. And that's pretty cool. First of all, let's talk about the situation right here. The camera was about 4 feet in front of the model, and the backdrop was about 3 feet behind the model. Behind the backdrop, there's a flash that's set on a 24mm dispersion with a 12mm wide conversion in order to give the background an actual natural vignette. That's why in the photos you see this nice vignette in the background where it looks nice as bright in the center, but also kind of darker on the sides. That's not an artifact of the lens in this case. I'm shooting, remember, at f5.6, which means the lens is wide open. So the lens is not causing any vignetting. Because I can't post-process this, and because I tend to like a vignette in my photos, my portrait images, I put the flash real close to the backdrop back there in order for it to cause a natural vignette. Obviously, the further back you step the flash from the backdrop, meaning that it goes backwards, the less the vignette will be, the more tonal lighting you'll get on the backdrop. However, that's what I wanted. We're going with a white backdrop. I chose a blue gel to go over that flash, and that flash is on 1:1 power. And that's important because I'm using a 3-stop neutral density filter on the camera itself. We'll get to that in just a second. About a foot to the side, well actually more like 2 feet to the side of the model and pointing straight up, I'm using another flash. This is a bare flash, and it's actually going to provide what would be the ambient and rim lighting. Normally this position right here would actually be an umbrella, and the umbrella would be point to kind of rim light the back side of the model as well as illuminate a little bit of the backdrop. But since here we're using a white backdrop, and since I'm going to be shooting a flash through the white backdrop, I didn't necessarily need to light up the backdrop or rim light the subject because the flash behind the backdrop will do so. However, right here I'm still going to use this light very, very well in order to get some bounce or some ambient light to come back in and help brighten the overall image. Otherwise it'd be very dark. Okay, over here to the front right of the model, this is the 45-degree front right. We're actually using a softbox, this Westcott Apollo, and this medium softbox right here is on full power as well, just like that flash, and it's giving me a little bit more of dispersed light, because instead of facing the flash directly into the softbox, it's actually facing the back of the softbox, so there's some bounce. It's also set on a very wide dispersion, so we get quite a bit of focus. This is going to be used as the main light to light the model, my Mr. Pookie. Now, in the middle of all this, what's going to happen is that this flash on the camera is going to trigger all of these other flash. Because all of these other flash are pro flash, they can be used in slave mode. All they're looking for is one bright flash of light. That's it. Because the Mint TL70 uses a very bright flash, and I don't have the specification, but I would assume it's a xenon flash, just because of my own experience, it's able to trigger all these other flash, even through the diffuser dome over there of the Gary Fong light sphere. Now, the reason that I'm using the diffuser dome is quite simply because all I want to do with this flash is trigger all the other flash in the room. If I didn't use the diffuser over the flash, then I would get hard flash light straight onto my model. And we saw that in a couple where I showed you what a bare bulb would look like. Let's look a little bit closer. We've got the flash. It's all queued up. The only thing that needs to happen is that this light needs to make it to that sensor. That sensor will then flash all the other ones. So let's go through and do it. You should see all the flash right now. Boom, every single one. Let's look at this one right here. Flashed. 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 Okay, so you can see that this flash is able to now trigger all three individual strobes in order to light the proper environment just the way we want. I'm going to take this moment to go over one additional thought that I had while putting this together. Because we don't really have control over the shutter speed, we have to recognize that the camera is going to be choosing its own shutter speed. And if we were using without flash in this room right here, the camera would be choosing a very long shutter speed. But by using the flash on the TL70, the camera is then choosing to use a very fast shutter speed in comparison. I'm figuring that the flash is actually right around 1/250th or 1/500th of a second. It's somewhere in there. It sounds very fast to me. It sounds like it does when I'm outside shooting in the daylight. And that means that I have two choices to make. And I did some tests. Whether or not I would use negative exposure compensation or no exposure compensation. The end result, I found that I preferred no exposure compensation because I wanted a little bit more brightness and tonal contrast in my image. However, that is up to you to taste. I think both of them really looked nice. Let's take it back to the main video to continue our analysis. And we're back. Okay guys, there you have it. How cool was that? We went through the entire settings, we showed you what we did and how I got these images. Now the reference set of images, I took a total of 10 images and I did them in different ways in order to get exactly the type of look that I was going for in order for this particular reference set of work. Now remember, you can change the color of these flash, thereby affecting the overall color of the actual images themselves when they're done, just by adding a gel to the flash. In fact, next time I do this, I'd probably add more blue gels to the flash when looking at it, mainly because the FUJIFILM Instax Mini Film is a very contrasty, very daylight balanced film. The lens on the TL70 is a beautifully warm saturated lens. These came out nice and warm as I'm looking at them. If I want to change the color, I could very easily use a blue filter in order to change the color of these to blue. Of course, if I was using something like a red backdrop, none of this would have been important because the camera would have, the film's balanced for those different types of colors. But having white in the background definitely gives the opportunity to play with different colors and stuff like that. Guys, I hope that you have enjoyed this video. It took me a couple of hours to make it, but I know that it's for your benefit. I had a really good time with it. And those of you that ever use this kind of a technique, let me know something down in the comments below. And if you're thinking about doing a TL70 photo booth at your next event, definitely keep me in the loop. Guys, I'm Robert Hamm with RobertHammPhotography.com. I want to thank you for watching and remind you that I will catch you on the flip side.